to a brand new episode of the podcast entitled Couch Potatoes Unite! This is a podcast based on a blog of the same name because we're a land of many told stories. Unite with us as we discuss them while on our couches. See, that's part of the name we want you to know about. Okay, my name is Kylie and I love TV. If you feel the same, keep listening and or checking out the blog at couchpotatoesunite.wordpress.com as you're bound to find some common ground or something you like. For at Couch Potatoes Unite, we're all about the wonders and the unique long-form storytelling of the small screen. CPU! Hopes you've been following releases of brand new episodes of the podcast on Wednesdays as well as new blog entries on some Tuesdays. And as always, we have several more new episodes on the way. Because the panelists and I live lives behind our podcast, the episodes are published once per week. Subscribe to the blog or the podcast via iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and via Google Play to stay on top of brand new episodes. Episodes already published discuss a variety of shows, including, but not limited to, Doctor Who, Downton Abbey, How to Get Away with Murder, Broadchurch, New Girl, Game of Thrones, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, American Horror Story, Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., The Vampire Diaries, Gotham, Supernatural, the DC shows on the CW, which include Arrow and The Flash and those things, and The X-Files from its inception through its revival. In addition, more episodes are in the works. Our Marvel's Defenders panel will be discussing Luke Cage. New panels will cover Stranger Things and The Mindy Project. New series will examine Gilmore Girls, including the Gilmore Girls reboot A Year in the Life and Sherlock. And because we also look back at shows now past, we'll be looking back at Glee. What's more, CPU! From time to time goes live. We've appeared at Comedy Outlet Mondays at Dog Story Theater and at Grand Rapids Comic-Con in Grand Rapids, Michigan, while streaming live on Facebook. More live appearances are being planned, so make sure you like us at our Facebook page, our Twitter, follow us at CPU Podcast, our Instagram at Couch Potatoes Unite, and or our Pinterest at CPU Podcast, or subscribe to the blog, our YouTube channel, our iTunes channel, our Stitcher Radio channel, or find us on Google Play. In the meantime, if you don't hear your show in this podcast format, fellow panelists and I still write reviews and we're always seeking new panelists, so if you have any interest in joining the discussion, say hello by finding us at any of those outlets we've mentioned. At the very least, stop by and leave us a thumbs up, comment, or review. We like feedback, even if it's from your dark sides. Just don't hurl magical fireballs at us, that's all I'm saying. Today, we're around the water cooler and discussing the first half of Season 6 of Once Upon a Time, which airs September through May Sundays on ABC. The 6th season premiered on September 25th, 2016. To remind the listener, Once Upon a Time, or Once as we like to call it here, is a fantasy drama wherein storybook and fairy tale characters are not only real, but are living in this world away from their enchanted kingdoms and worlds beyond reality. The show is set in fictional Storybrooke, Maine, as well as in the Enchanted Forest, the fairy tale kingdom from where most of the main characters originate. The action takes place primarily in present day, though there are flashbacks to the characters' past lives before they were whisked away to Storybrooke by a curse wrought by the evil Queen Regina, played by Lana Parrilla, and before they were made run-of-the-mill, real-world residents with serious bouts of amnesia. For a more detailed plot summary, listen to prior podcast episodes about Once Upon a Time or check out our other Once entries on the blog. If you didn't already know, you can click the floating box at the top right of the header, the picture with the TV watcher, and search for any blog entry or prior podcast episode, a modern technological perk if I say so myself. Once again, our esteemed group of Once panelists, namely Eddie, Kristen, Amie, Micah, and Emily, have returned, excited to discuss the first half of Season 6, otherwise known as, actually I don't think it had an official name, but it covered like the land of untold stories and a whole bunch of other things. As always, so much has happened, a lot has happened this time, to the heroes and villains of Once. The panel and I can't wait to get into the discussion, but before we do, I'm going to take a moment to take the panel's temperature. After all, as we always know, sometimes a TV show can take turns for the better or the worse in our heads, or can continue its level of awesomeness or lack thereof, depending upon its story evolution. As always, it should be noted that all of our panelists have viewed the entire show to date and will, let's face it, discuss sensitive plot points. So for those of you who are not caught up on Once, listen at your own risk, as there may be major spoilers. Welcome back, panel. How are you all today?
Good.
All right. Are you ready to talk about Season 6?
Yes.
First half? All right. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read this standard CPU character question, which of course changes with each show we do. I have tweaked the Once character descriptions. Not a lot this time. but enough. So I'm going to reread the list, and I will also remind you of who you picked last time in case you didn't go back and study. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. In watching Once Upon a Time Season 6, do you just love the story and all of its unpredictability and all of its characters, like a good author would? Also, you relate to most of the characters and stories, like Henry. Do you like the show? You think the show is making a comeback and you're prepared to fight for your second chance and show enjoyment without being bowled over by the parts that leave you feeling you don't like yourself for watching it and loving it, like Belle? Do you want it to be good because you want to be good, like Regina or Hook? Do you watch it because you've watched this long and maybe you found new love for it, but you can feel its time's limited at this point, so you're willing to enjoy the journey before you finally reach the ending, whatever ending that may be, like Emma? Do you love the family element because you love your family, but sometimes the show puts you to sleep, like Snow and Charming? Have you watched it this long, but you're almost ready to give up on it because you've got your mojo back and all you want is your power and the love of your life, whomever that may be, like Rumple? Do you watch it, but you can't believe you've been convinced to watch this long because there are other things you want, like the love of your child and maybe a happy ending far away from your sister, or maybe with a sister who really supports you, like Zelina? Or do you not like the show or even hate the show at this point because you think it's campy, over the top, and even a little too crazy, with light and dark elements and good and bad points that don't reconcile satisfactorily to you? In fact, you may be ready to remove your own heart and put yourself and your allegiance to this show out of their respective miseries, like the evil queen. And there's a reason I separated out Regina and the evil queen. So, who would like to start? Micah, you were Emma and Regina last time. Who are you this time?
I'm going to have to abandon both of those.
Okay.
Solid Belle this time.
All right.
Like this half of the season, I was like, okay, they're getting back into the swing of what made me love the show in the first place, so yeah, I'm optimistic.
All right.
I'll go next.
Okay, hi.
Hi, I'm Kristen.
Hi, Kristen.
Hi.
You were Emma and Hook last time.
I was, and this time I'm going to say I'm still Emma, but unlike Micah, I wasn't impressed.
This should be good.
This is why I went
Spicy.
second. I think the show, as much as I want to love the show, I love fairy tale shows, as we all know, but I think it's starting to die. This first half of the season, it didn't really do it for me. So I'm a little bit of Emma. I think I'm just going to enjoy the journey because it is finally ending, but I'm also Snow and Charming because it didn't put me to sleep, but I didn't feel the need to watch it right away. And normally I watch it because, I don't have cable anymore, so I have Hulu, so I watch it the day after. And this time I let like 3 or 4 episodes stack up before I watched it.
That's legit.
And I really hate that because
Sure.
I love this show, and I thought this first half was kind of anticlimactic after all the setting up they did at the end of season 5.
So you're Emma? Just Emma?
Emma and Snow and Charming.
Oh, Emma and Snow and Charming, right.
Yep.
I forgot.
Because they come together, so I only did 2 this time instead of 3.
You kept it in the
But you sort of
family.
did 3.
Yeah.
Don't hate me!
We don't.
It's
I'll
going to
go
be
next.
spicy. Okay.
We need conflict.
I'm Eddie.
Hi, Eddie.
Hi.
Eddie, last time, guess who you were last time?
I'm always Regina.
Are you still Regina?
We need really climatic music. Bum bum bum.
Da-da-da.
For the first time
For
ever.
the first time ever, I'm not Regina.
Actually, this would be the second time.
Oh, this is the time. I was a Henry one. Okay,
Yes.
yes. But
Henry once.
I was. Oh, I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm Emma and the evil queen. This first half has been rough. Like, I seriously was holding my eyes open to watch it. I thought I had ADD. Oh my god, this season has ADD. This first half has ADD, and it needs some Ritalin. Like, so I'm not like ready to jump and run away because I mean it still has its solid structure and there's still parts. I agree with you. I do love that characters are coming back, but I'm sure we'll get into that. But
Indeed. Welcome back, Eddie.
thank you.
I'm Emily.
Hi, Emily.
Hi.
You were Emma and Hook last time. You
Oh,
were
that's
shipping
right.
the shippers.
Duh. This time, though, I definitely definitely have changed. I think I'm like a Henry and a Belle.
Oh,
see,
it's gonna be a spicy.
Good thing we're sitting on opposite sides of the water cooler.
Hello, look where I'm sitting.
Yeah, no,
she's gentle.
I liked the way this season. I agree with Eddie. It was a bit ADD and a bit all over the place, but I still liked where we've come at the end of this first half of the season.
Welcome back, Emily. Welcome to Amie in person.
Yay! Could you freeze for like 2 seconds? Just
Eddie, that's an inside joke, Eddie.
For the listeners, we usually Skype with Amie over the computer for these podcasts, but she's in person now.
I love
and apparently I freeze and didn't know that, so it's cool.
You don't. You're fine.
Last time you were Emma, Hook, and Regina, we should say.
I will keep elements of Emma because I do think that the show may be on a path of like, I'm still on the journey, but who knows, it may be ending. But at the same time, I'm Belle. Because I really enjoyed it.
Well,
even though I'm not squeezing on the couch. I'll be over here. I like this corner of the water cooler. Maybe because I rewatched the entire season in 1 week, so I was able to not have that time. But I do think it was a bit ADD. So, but for some reason, there are some seasons and some parts that you guys love that I'm like, didn't really get me. But this one, I don't know, I liked it. So I'm a little bit Belle.
All right. Well, welcome back, Amie.
Thank you.
And of course, my name is Kylie. I'm moderating, but also participating as I have been on this panel. And last time I was Emma, Hook, and Regina as well. I'm still Emma. I've been Emma a long time, but I wrote 2 descriptions with myself in mind. One of them was Emma. I'm in it for the journey at this point, and I do think it's on the latter half of its run. I don't know, but as far as the other half, I am Snow and Charming, like Kristen.
We need a high five or a fist
right,
bump.
Because okay, so full disclosure panel, I had a busy couple of weeks, and I watched this entire half season in, say, less than 24 hours. But, yes, it is, right? Really good for my New Year's resolutions. But I have to say that I was just like Eddie. I was fighting to keep my eyes open before the sleeping curse happened. And then when the sleeping curse happened, I was like...
but it's different.
But it's still the same.
That's what I said.
Let's just, we'll get there.
But there's some cute elements on it. I like the twist there.
Okay, it's just... Okay. The spiciness is already coming out,
We're
listener.
going to need a paddle to talk.
We might need a magic wand stick thing.
I have one. Should I go get it?
No.
We're not there yet. Maybe for the next one. No, this ADD is a very apt description for this half season. Because it was so scattered, I could not be engaged. It was completely impossible for me to care about anything that was happening other than the only thing I could say is what's the evil queen doing right now and what's Rumple and Belle doing right now. That's who I cared about. Mm-hmm. I didn't care about anybody else. And they kept, tossing characters, old characters, new characters. I was like, oh my gosh!
I forgot about Cinderella until you sent out the note.
Yeah.
I was like,
I was like, this is a character gumbo, people.
I feel like Once Upon a Time tends to do that sometimes.
But this was the worst it's ever been.
Yes.
There's been so many, and I was just like,
to go from the craziness of the underworld where they were throwing characters in for 5 seconds and then coming back to this one where we're like, oh god, what's happening right now?
But I thought the underworld throwing them in made sense.
It did.
There was more of an organic toss.
Right. Yeah. It flowed perfectly. They were in the underworld. They were already dead. And a lot of characters use the past characters to continue their journey. I believe the underworld really helped Regina go where she needed to go.
Mm-hmm.
This one?
No, I agree. Even though I just watched it, I forgot about Cinderella too.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
But that still didn't ruin this first half.
Yeah, one of my favorite things about the show.
And we're just gonna keep talking.
Sorry.
was the larger ensemble of characters. Like, I think it was around season 4 when the Frozen arc started that they kind of like, we're only gonna have the main people be in. I was like, that's cool, but they're all very similar in tone. Like, when you have Leroy in there, he's grumpy. Obviously, things are going to get exciting. But, like, Archie, I was really glad to see him in some episodes this season. Because the actor does a great job. He's a great character. I kind of miss Geppetto as well, because I really love that. Tony Almanza, I think is his name.
Yes,
Yeah. But, yeah, no, Cinderella, I wasn't like, oh, it's you. I was like, oh, you're still, like, looking for work.
She had a baby
person. I agree. Archie was great. I'm not upset by some of the people they brought back, and I agree with you. When they took the whole we're going to make a half a season about this story, they kind of lost a lot, and that's what we've been talking about over the past 3 episodes of our Once Upon a Time series. It's just, they introduced all these people that they forgot about. So what I think they did was overcompensated and brought all the people back.
Yeah.
Who's available? Come on back.
Yeah.
And you get an episode, and you get an episode, and you get an episode.
And you get a couple of lines in an episode.
Maleficent gets no episode.
None.
Where the hell is Maleficent?
She's off with Lily somewhere, like gallivanting being dragons.
They'll throw them in there when we least expect it.
Exactly.
And it'll be like,
Hopefully they do that. That's a healthy move, I think.
Maybe that's something that's going to come back in the second half, because now they're in that whole
fantasy
land.
They're in the wish realm.
Where Robin came back.
I do have to say
super
that episode made me
spoiler
cry.
alert. I was so sad when he came back. I was
So I did too. I was like, when I saw the arrow, I was like, you're messing with my feelings here. This is not right.
That's what I said. So maybe because Lily and Emma were such good friends that they were kind of like something that happens in the wish realm in the second half.
The Wish Realm does open up some possibilities. But before we get to the Wish Realm, because that was the mid-season point, let's talk about
Everything before that?
the 3,500 other things that happened.
Get our big old book out and scroll.
No. Talk about what you like, what you didn't, because we have this is the first time I think ever on this panel, and one of the first times among a lot of our panels, that we have such a variety of opening opinions. So I think y'all should just start justifying it.
I have to say that, and Once has a track record of doing this, of having storylines that are among storylines that just
Fizzle and die.
Well, that they just don't really need to be there.
Yeah.
First of all, Aladdin had no abs showing.
That has nothing to do with story.
Come on.
It's in the 8 o'clock family hour. Not everybody can be naked.
Okay, the Disney cartoon he had abs.
But they didn't play that Aladdin in this one. They played his post-Disney movie life.
They did have a lot of the Aladdin movie elements, though.
I thought it was really cool, though, that they picked his story up from the end of Aladdin, the first movie, and that the genie was free, and
just
that's
being
how I
Eddie
was
talking about the abs.
I'm really glad that they didn't say here's a new genie, here's a new guy playing the genie, because for me, Robin Williams was such an iconic person. Yeah,
and the once gone, but that line about is he? No, he's moved on. I was like.
But in a sense, they've already done the genie storyline when they did Once Upon a Time in Wonderland, because there was a lot of lot of things crossing over from there. So.
Yes.
Anyway, what I was getting at, so sorry, is that we can go past that.
Are we sure?
I believe that Jasmine and Aladdin just didn't need to be there.
I didn't think they did either.
Jasmine, played by Queen Isabella Valencia from Gallivant, by the way.
ABC likes to keep it in the family.
I guess they do.
They really do.
Yeah. I agree with Eddie. I thought that they were kind of a weird thing to be throwing in there. I didn't understand why they were necessary to the advancing of the plot.
I thought it was cute that he was...
Savior?
Thank you.
Yeah.
So much crap, I can't remember anything. I thought it was really, really nice that he connected, but I didn't need to know that they needed to go back to Agrabah. Whatever. Let's talk about Jafar. Jafar.
Wait, but before we go on to Jafar, were you going to say something?
It links to that. What I'm hoping all of this unnecessary Aladdin and Jasmine stuff was biting the bullet of preparation. Because in my opinion, what the show needs in order to really get good is they need a solid villain that has an overarching plan, because all of their best seasons have come from having one villain who has one end game that they're trying to do, and they have to take
which
them
they're getting back to the season. They're
systematically.
not doing an A and a B.
Yeah.
It's one continuous story.
And the guy who they recast to play Jafar, even though I love Saeed from Lost,
It's
great
due to
guy.
scheduling conflicts. That's the only reason he was not able to come back.
Naveen Andrews, I love you.
Yes.
Yes, that actor that they recast as, who was, people might know him from all the Mummy movies with Brendan Fraser.
And he was in the show Covert Affairs. I loved him.
Thank you, Kristen. Covert Affairs. Catch you.
Covert Affairs.
Where did we catch you? Yeah, like he's a really good actor, so I'm hoping that they're giving more setup so that Jafar will have a big presence either in this next half or in maybe possibly the next season.
I'll be really mad if once he made the wish for them to go to Agrabah that we don't see him again. Poof! They're gone.
I'll be really
I
mad.
will be very upset. Like, I mean, I was upset that Aladdin and Jasmine was there and we really didn't need them. But now they put the story there and they can't just stop it like
I
that.
think they will.
I disagree. I think that Aladdin and Jasmine, I didn't think that they were pointless at all. I think that they weaved them in there in a way, for me, that made sense. What did bother me was their accents, but we won't go authenticity there.
They're so English. Why are they randomly English?
Stepping away from why they weren't like Middle Eastern in their accents at all, what was Aladdin's accent at all?
I know. I thought it was Australian
What
or
part of
something.
Britain is that?
Yeah, I don't even think it was.
Nobody knows.
Yeah, and cute, very handsome actor, but I was like, they could have cast somebody like legitimately Arab. But anyway, we won't go there. But that was my big beef about Jasmine.
I know it's too early for
Aladdin.
predictions, but I'm really hoping that Aladdin and Jasmine show up in this fantasy world. That Agrabah is just a dream that they both had.
You're hoping for the ads, aren't you?
No. I mean, that is wishful thinking. But anyway.
I mean, I understand why they included Aladdin and Jasmine in the first half, because it's supposed to be the setup of what happens to a savior when you cut their line to their destiny. When you use the magical shears. And
Shears of destiny.
Thank you. When you cut their destiny, when you cut them off. And it was a weird choice for me for them to do Aladdin, because he's such a strong, like, heroic character, and I don't know, that didn't make a lot of sense to me, but I understand why he's there.
Kind of adds the gravity, though. Like in that little clip that we had before the season started where Jafar flies to where
and his hands are shaking, and he's not seeing anybody today.
Aladdin.
Yeah, you didn't. Not at first. Not until you saw the carpet. I kind of like where they ended them, with going off to Agrabah. Aladdin takes it upon himself to become the genie so he can try to rectify the fact of everything that happened when he was no longer the savior of Agrabah.
So I guess I should say this. I don't think the Aladdin and Jasmine story, like how they did it, was like bad. I thought like what they did, how they like him becoming the genie, I thought that was good. I didn't think they needed to be there.
Just didn't
because
fit.
they had so much more.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that I had the problem with particularly is not that they were there, but that it literally went from Land of Untold Stories, and we're done, Aladdin.
Yeah. They didn't even go into the Land of Untold Stories that much.
Are you raising your hand?
I was very excited for
saying
that.
agree.
It's gonna, both. It's going to be a beat change, so go ahead.
Are you going to lay down some beats?
I mean, I just can't rap to them at the same time.
I was really hoping that we would go like more in depth into the Land of Untold Stories, because they set that up to be such a great
I was really
But
excited.
again, like I said in the last podcast, once is setting it up where they have all this great potential, and then they're like,
I
throw it away.
They have done so
I wanted
many
Dr.
times.
Jekyll and Hyde to stay way longer.
Me too.
Oh my god,
I was so upset. I did not.
No, that was my beat change.
I'm sorry.
You're
My
good.
bad.
You segued in.
Perfect.
In my opinion, everything about the Jekyll and Hyde arc was undercooked. I thought I thought we found out that they were the same person far too fast.
Yes.
That was back before the freaking finale. I thought they were separated way too fast, and then they left too quickly. I really did like the whole twist with Hyde not being the bad aspect.
Yeah.
That was a really good twist. I was like, oh, nobody does that. Like, very good creative choice.
Yeah.
But it was just like, that was the only thing that I could take from it positively, because they were just like, here you go.
I agree. I agree. I wish that they were there longer. They could have done so much to develop.
But it was almost like they had to
something
write
really
something out that they go, I'm sorry guys, we have 35 million things to go. We drew straws and you're gone.
And that's
now.
just bad planning on the showrunner and the writers' part.
Exactly.
Then they really need to start taking advantage of everything that they set up. There's so much potential that they could have had with Jekyll and Hyde, and they rushed it to really bring in more of the savior mythology that we're supposedly getting into.
I really
year.
liked Dr. Jekyll and Rumble and the Evil Queen all working together.
Yeah.
That was an awesome
that
trio.
And that trio could have been...
Trio.
Yes, that trio could have gone.
They could have kicked some
intense.
major
They
butt.
could have. They could have done some awesomely evil things.
So they need to start concentrating a bit more versus.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
There's no focus.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no focus in this, and I really hope it's time for them to focus, or us even dedicated people are going to start falling off. Which I mean, all of us have said that we're staying for the long journey, but it's going to be rough.
I'm already feeling the burn about the squandered potential. This is not the first time. Like they've done this like every season since season 2 or 3.
Correct.
It's kind of getting ridiculous at this point.
I
Like,
mean-
why do you create these this is to the writers. Why do you create these possibilities only to say, oh, and we're done with that now?
And why are they redoing all the same storylines again? I'm tired of seeing the sleeping curse. We've seen that a ton. Even though, yes, there is
the change up.
Even though there's the twist because they're sharing a heart. One, Snow and Charming, only one can be awake at a time. I get that that's more emotional for them, and now we're going to see what they're like without the other, and we've already kind of seen that in David or Charming.
Oh, yeah.
But we've done the sleeping curse this is what, the 3rd time now?
4. I thought it was the 4th.
It's a lot of times.
There's other types of curses. If you want to keep playing the curse card, that's fine, because it is a fairy tale world. Give us something different than the sleeping curse.
So that's a great segue into I'm really tired of Emma. I know we're supposed to love Emma, and I know she's a main character. I'm just really tired of her having this dramatic, I guess she's just too over the top.
I think she's a Debbie Downer, but I'm not tired of her.
I'm not tired of her either.
I think she's one of the redeeming qualities.
Well, here's the thing. I think Emma's getting what's thrown at her. I think they're cutting Emma. I think they're doing the same thing with Emma. I don't think they're giving Emma her full potential.
Yeah, she kind of took a big turn during the Underworld arc, and I would say, honestly, I said I really liked this half of the season. It was more the last quarter. Because the beginning of this season did kind of start out a little rocky. Yeah, her whole, just the beginning of the savior disease thing when we didn't know what it was, that wasn't done very well. Just from an acting perspective, Tremors, you gotta be careful. Because they looked terrible.
They did.
They looked really badly performed. I was like,
well, now she, of course, has a vision that she's gonna die. Of course, shocker. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, although, talking about her dying, having Belle and Rumple's son being the person that's supposed to kill her...
Spoiler.
That shocked me. Yeah, spoiler alert.
That was a really good twist.
That, was one of the first things in the season that was actually oh, whoa, guys, come on, let's go make this something good. Because, we all expected... Well, I'm sure they will. I mean, but that's going to be difficult for Belle and Rumple because it's their child, and I mean, Rumple, or they all care about Belle. They don't give a rat's ass about Rumple, but they care about Belle. So I think it's going to cause a lot of conflict.
I really hope that Belle saves Emma.
Yeah,
I really hope that somehow she convinces her son, who she's very obviously connected with because she saw him in her dreams, that she convinces him or somehow does something that he does not kill him. Or he just kills her.
But remember, though, this is I think, what's his name? Morpheus, I think is what he was calling himself.
In the Matrix.
Now he's Gideon.
Now he's Gideon. But he was the dream god. But Morpheus and Gideon are 2 totally different versions of this character. I don't know if Morpheus is him from the future where he becomes the dream god as a result of what is ever happening between the battle with him and Emma, but Gideon, Belle sent him away with the blue fairy to protect him so he wouldn't be hurt by his father, which is Rumpelstiltskin. But spoiler, Rumple's mother comes back into the picture. She's the black fairy who's very evil.
Who is the black fairy?
I thought that
is my question.
I thought in the early seasons we saw his mother.
We did.
I did as well.
So that's why I was
they're rewriting the mythology, or something happened.
Don't tell anybody. Don't remind the listeners.
Continuity.
I'm sorry,
but
continuity is my number one thing.
Yes. So the black fairy attacked Blue and stole the baby for herself, and she went and raised him all evil. And now
prediction?
No, that's what happened.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
That's what happened.
Right.
So now that's when he comes back, fully grown, even though he was
It's not,
only stolen.
It's not
like,
well thought out.
It's
That's why
not.
you're like,
No.
all of a sudden he's here.
all of us,
and he's
yeah.
an adult, and
So,
he's-
and like the time is
That's
weird
the only
because
reason.
time in the Black Fairies realm passes differently than it does in Storybrooke. So even though
But
baby
also-
Gideon
so
was
they can
taken,
fast forward 20
yeah,
years.
because he was only taken like 2 days or something, and then all of a sudden now
But
he's a
remember,
grown man.
You've got the magic dust. You've got the magic aging dust.
We
yeah,
did-
because
well,
I was gonna say because Rumpel sped up her pregnancy and everything, so maybe that.
Well,
could've-
the evil queen sped up
Yeah.
the pregnancy
Yes.
with Rumpel's magic dust.
Yeah.
Yes.
You just aged a fairy for really no good reason. Just
Yeah, just.
But he aged because he spent all that time in the Black Fairies world, and he just came back to Storybrooke fully grown. Because again, time doesn't pass the same. But I don't know.
Who is the Black Fairy? That's what
Yeah,
We don't know yet. All we know is that it's his mother.
Yeah.
That just came out of
But here's my
left
thing.
field.
I really
was
hope
like,
it's-
I was like, I'm sorry. Wait,
I really
where-
hope it's
what?
one of those things that it's not really his mother, that it's his mother who like raised him.
No, I think that's his biological.
She abandoned him.
That's his
Or
biological
she,
mother.
it could be the woman that we saw before was the one who raised it.
Yeah.
Right.
Versus,
That's what I'm thinking.
That's
like-
totally what I meant when
Because-
it didn't come out that way.
Well, because he
Thank you for
mentions that
having
the
me.
only child she didn't want was her own.
Right.
Because the Black Fairy goes and steals children for herself, but she left Rumpel on his own
That
or
might
with his
explain
father.
Well, that's
why
because
his
she
father
can't.
didn't
That's because she
care
can't.
about
She
her.
has
Yeah.
an inability
It
to
could-
be able to love.
I
That's
also
why.
did not love the actress in her 5 minutes as the Black Fairy. I was like, who is this woman?
Yeah.
She did a good job of like in the first time we seeing her pretending to like be like, oh, you're my son, I'm so affected, and then like laughing it off. I thought that was a nice turn. Like, oh, you're just really, really evil. Okay, but,
You're crazy.
Yeah.
I don't
And
know.
yeah, but
It kind of makes you wonder if they're going to bring her into Storybrooke and like have her team up with like the evil queen and then maybe shun Rumpel because Rumpel is technically her daughter, her son. So like who knows if they're going to use her like with the evil queen.
Because right now the evil queen doesn't like Rumble because she won't
Yeah.
give him some.
Yup.
well, there's that, but also spoiler, since we've already spoiled that Gideon came back through this fairy portal. Gideon also transformed the evil queen into a snake and
Oh,
caged
yeah.
her.
Correct.
Yeah,
like
he
right
sure.
after he was there.
He went into the pawn shop.
And I only think he
Yeah.
did that so he could control her. I
For
don't.
sure.
I don't
Oh,
think
yeah.
he did that because like
If you wanted her dead, you could kill her.
Right.
Yeah.
I think he just did it so he can control her and use her when he needs
Yeah,
her.
and they all. Speaking of what they did to the evil queen, I was personally very annoyed by David's vagueness in his wish that she gets what
Oh,
she deserves.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
I was not
like,
mean.
really.
Well,
Wish
You
you
deserve
need
that
to be
wish wasted,
specific.
you idiot.
No. You mean seriously? Because that was the catchphrase of the season. Seriously?
Oh, yeah, she was. That
They
she
actually hit on it so we would catch it. Seriously?
Yeah.
Once upon a time, what happened?
So and
I have very
so
simple-
I didn't really understand why that happened, but they kept saying, "Oh, she got your wish came true." It's like no, it didn't. That was that dude.
Said something
Yeah.
dumb. Like,
Yeah.
Why didn't you say, "I wish the evil queen would like disappear forever" or something like
Yeah.
that?
Because we
It's
learned.
so
Okay,
many
so I'm gonna say
opportunities.
David's an idiot.
This is
what I
my-
think
yeah,
this is
my-
the moment I
He's a
This is
really
my
nice
opinion
guy,
on
but
that.
he's dumb.
If he would have said, "I wish she never existed" or anything like that,
Yeah, that's
then
more
Regina
specific.
wouldn't have existed.
Yeah.
No, but we're
Regina's
not.
the original.
But
Yeah.
we
She just
learned-
never would have become.
Didn't
the
we
evil
learn
queen.
that you could? I don't know if this is a spoiler or not. It might be. Didn't we
can
learn
say it.
that
Spoiler.
the evil queen could be hurt, but not Regina? So
Yeah.
if
With
he had
that sword.
Oh, with
that sword.
That
Okay.
sword that came literally out of nowhere.
This is what I'm
Had a
saying.
tantrum in my store, and on top of the pile, they didn't even like root.
Yeah.
Oh no! Right on top,
They
like
could have
laying
brought-
out for Emma.
they could have
Like,
brought
oh
back-
dear,
They
this
could
big sword.
totally brought back sexy Merlin, and
Yeah.
he could have brought the sword in, and it would have had a home.
So what sword
Eddie.
is this?
I'm
Yeah, I don't even like they've already, the only famous fairy tale sword really is Excalibur, and we've already done that.
Or
Right.
the Vorpal sword,
Or the
which we've also
Vorpal sword,
seen
which we've
already.
also done.
Yeah.
So what sword is
We're running out of swords,
Nobody
and
knows.
Kirsten.
Also, a question about the whole like split thing: is it the original Regina, or are they now polarized halves?
Well, this
Because-
is this is how they said it, because if you recall, you mentioned the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, Flipperoo. somebody says, and I don't know who says it, but the original is the real copy. So like Dr. Jekyll would be, if you hurt Dr. Jekyll, you hurt both. You can't hurt Hyde. They tried to hurt Hyde, but they couldn't hurt Hyde. When they stabbed Jekyll, they did. They said words.
Yeah, they did. They explained it.
They said words.
It's so muddled sometimes.
It's very muddled.
So
it was extremely muddled. So they actually, when they finally, because they killed Jekyll while he was on Hook's ship, creeping on Belle in a weird way.
Yeah.
He took out both Jekyll and Hyde at the same time. So then they realized, oh, well, they can't do anything to
the copy
because they will hurt Regina, and the only way to kill the evil queen is to kill Regina, except, but for the magic sword, Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah, that sword, like, I was so confused. Like, when she just they just had it, I'm like,
it's too convenient.
Exactly.
I was confused when she first had her tremors. Like,
yeah.
Did she get in an accident and then I didn't watch? Where did all of a sudden she was just walking with her parents and, oop, I'm going to have a tremor, and now I just saw that I'm going to die.
Yeah, that seemed to come very much out of left field too. It was just like, okay, now all of a sudden Emma's having a premonition that she's going to die, and she's going to keep having this premonition, but like, what led to the premonitions? I mean, they said that it's like a savior thing, but...
Because saviors don't get happily ever afters either.
Yeah.
And maybe it got lost. Who was the girl that like kept telling her, I know?
The Oracle?
Yeah,
was that what she was?
Yeah, she called herself the Oracle.
Which once again, along with Morpheus, they keep peppering in these Greek mythology figures.
Yes, they do.
While not giving us like a solid arc. Because we saw Zeus.
Yeah.
We got two of the big three.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Briefly.
He went the distance.
Yeah, we've already got a podcast on all our problems with Hercules. But,
Yes, we do.
Yeah, like, I think maybe it is the showrunner and the writers are like, here's a good idea, and they're like saying, we're going to keep 10% of that. But all of the storyline potential for that idea is gone, so.
I mean, even though I said I did enjoy this portion of Once Upon a Time, the parts that still bother me as a carryover from previous seasons is the character of Emma and how she gets so Debbie Downer, which is fine, but then she's like, I can't tell my family about this. Like, why? When will you ever be like, BT Dubs, guys?
But hasn't she already learned that lesson? That keeping secrets from her family?
That's what I'm saying. That's what bothers me, where I'm like, you need to stop, because...
Mom, Dad, I'm having
I don't want to worry you, even though we're in the land of
having
magic.
tremors. I might be dying.
Yeah, I just say it. Like, that bothers me. But, and this might be a change of topic, but the character that actually didn't bother me as much as she usually always bothers me is Belle. I thought her character was stronger.
Kylie said it.
Well, and Belle is supposed to be a strong character.
But she hasn't been for Belle.
She hasn't. This whole, first part, it was Belle, Evil Queen. Anything in between, I was like, I'm sorry, I'll catch up with you later. Sorry.
Yeah. Belle, Evil Queen. Well, and unless it was Jekyll and Hyde, if they had strung that out a little bit more.
Right.
I enjoyed them. Cut off too short. But Belle, I actually was like, all right.
I was like, get it. She was like working.
She's the only one that's been consistently growing every season.
Growing, yes. Yeah.
She's getting stronger.
She's evolving.
And she's becoming a better hero.
Yeah.
And not in the typical, and what I love about her is she's not the typical Belle. She's not the, I hate to say this, but she's not the Disney Belle.
I don't like the Disney Belle.
I don't like the Disney Belle.
Blasphemy.
I love the Disney Belle.
But, I mean, okay, so
she doesn't need to be the Disney Belle.
Right.
I just want to say I love the Disney
Belle.
Belle.
I love Beauty. I love Beauty and the Beast as well, like the Disney version. But she's starting to have this, excuse my language, she has her inner bitch. That's all I got. She's like, this is me. Yeah, I'm becoming myself.
She's not afraid to look out for number one.
Well, she's not. And if you remember the traditional story of Beauty and the Beast, she normally has everybody telling her what to do. She has the Beast telling her what to do, her dad telling her what to do. Now this Belle is like, okay, sucks to be you all, but I'm going to do this.
I have two responses. The first is you have to remember who her cursed identity was. Remember Lacey?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She did whatever she wanted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they've also set up in flashbacks that she used to be more of a Spitfire, but when she started becoming embroiled in this tempestuous romance with Rumpelstiltskin, she had to subjugate a lot of that fire for him. Yeah. Now the fire is coming out. I will
She
say
doesn't care what
she
Rumple
doesn't.
is doing.
No,
Not
because
she's not afraid of him. Like
No.
not at all. Like
She's
not one bit.
And that's where a little bit of that Disney bell is coming out, though, because there's like those scenes where the Beast is like, "You're gonna come down to dinner," and she's like, "No, I'm not." Like that's where I like that they're kind of throwing some of that in.
That spunk and that
Yeah.
It
fire.
also seemed to start after the moment because Belle and Rumple were kind of in a like just really wishy-washy place for a long
Yeah,
time. Of, like,
I agree.
But I want this, but I want that, and they just kind of like sat there going, But then there was the scene where Rumple was like, "Okay, I'm a bad guy. I can be your guy, but I can't be a good guy. Deal with it." And now she's like, "I'm dealing with it." So we've like got like solid stances, and that's where conflict.
That's fine.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
finally.
Another thing that
I was going to say one of my favorite scenes, one of the best scenes to me this season, was right after the confrontation on the ship when they were going at each other on the docks and they were in each other's face. And she was like, "Why won't you get away from me? You know, why won't you, I don't want you in my life. Do you want to drive me away forever?" And he's like, "I do it because I love you, but it won't be like that forever." Like this whole thing going back.
Yeah.
And that was one of my, because I was like, yes!
And we saw
And
his
that
focus
was-
shift from trying to win her love to now latching onto the love of the kid.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like that was like a very believable argument that a real like couple that was in love could have, and I like that that some of that realness was there, and that it wasn't so like, "Oh, like I love you and don't hurt me," and that kind
it wasn't fairy tale love.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It
wasn't
was,
that kind
I'm evil, I love you, you don't like it, we're gonna work through our crap together.
of, yeah.
Or we're not.
Or
Yeah.
we're
Says
not.
we're
the
not.
Slytherin.
What?
Says the Slytherin. I'm evil.
Everything
You
comes
deal
back
with
to her.
it.
Was that a dig at me, or were you just...
I'm just pointing out some things.
Shifting gears a little bit on the topic of being evil, because what terrible thing am I gonna say on the podcast? Like, what horrible news could I possibly be? Like, I took a kid's book. Like, no, it's nothing bad like that. I really enjoyed seeing more of course, we saw the Evil Queen all day, every day. But we got to see some classic Rumple as well, especially the
Yeah.
Wish Realm Rumple.
Yeah.
I missed
yes.
classic
Yes.
Rumple.
Best moment he's had in
His
seasons.
laugh gets me every
Oh,
time.
yeah.
I missed classic Rumple so
Love it.
hard.
Yeah.
Did I? Yeah, when they like had him back in the Wish Realm and everything, I like thought he wasn't gonna show up with the magic bean just because like that's
Who
typical
he is.
Rumple.
Right.
And so when he was there, I was like, okay, I see you. What do you want? Like you
Yeah.
obviously want something else because you wouldn't be here. So I'm really curious to see how the rest of this Wish Realm plays out, and I hope they like go with it because now they're in there, and like I just want them to go with it because that's what always happens is like the whole like the land of untold stories.
Yeah.
Like I just wanted them to go with it, and then they didn't.
Yeah.
They're gonna be, I feel like they're gonna be in the Wish Realm for like 5 minutes.
Probably.
And then they're gonna be back
I really
in
hope
Storybrooke.
not, because again, it's
I hope not
another
either.
wasted opportunity.
Yeah, and you could, there's so much to be So explored. two things are gonna happen. with Either the they're gonna be there variations. for 5 minutes, or everybody's gonna wind up there. I think they're gonna be there for 5 minutes.
Yeah, 'cause
I
they
don't
even
think
showed-
everybody else is gonna end up there.
I think they even
No,
showed
yeah.
in this preview for like the second half of the season that like she's like to Robin Hood something about like, oh, like I'm gonna take you back, and like so I think they already
could that
showed that they were gonna try and bring Robin back, which I'm so glad they did because right when they killed him off, like they had just promoted him to like a season regular,
Yeah.
and then they killed him off. So I'm like, he has to come back. You have to bring him back. So I was very glad that they did bring him back.
But they also are fulfilling their promise and saying, no, Robin Hood, he's dead. He is dead.
He's
He's
dead.
dead.
Very dead.
Yeah.
They're not bringing him back to life, but there is this Wish Realm version of him. It's the true Robin Hood.
So
that's interesting.
We don't really know a lot about the Wish Realm, do we?
No.
we know nothing.
This is a brand new concept.
So this is what I really hope this Wish Realm is that when you go there, your wish comes true.
Well, that's the whole reason it was created.
Right.
It was because, we hope who was it? The Evil Queen?
She wished for Emma.
She wished for Emma never to be the savior.
Yeah.
And so that's why this whole thing just poofed into existence. So this is
Yeah.
what Emma's life would have been like if the dark curse hadn't been cast in the
Emma
first place.
just without being the savior.
My problem with the Wish Realm, and this is more of a sci-fi problem than a magic problem, because magic brings in more problems, is that, yeah, they went there, and but Rumpelstiltskin, whatever the Dark One is in reality, he was able to become aware. Like, the moment that I rewatched multiple times is when he figures out the name Storybrooke from out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Because that was a great Rumple moment. Yeah. But he's self-aware. He realizes that he's fake, if he is, and that his actions in this fake world have no
consequences. Remember? I'm fake.
That's like what is super interesting to me is how that's all going to work out, because like Emma remembered everything, which was fine, and then but Rumple knew stuff about Storybrooke. That's what confused me, because I'm like, but isn't he fake? But how would he know? And
plus, are there copies now?
Yeah.
Because, like, we have real Regina and real Emma, among others, in the Wish Realm, but we have a fake David and Snow. Can real David and Snow come to this world?
Well, no, David and Snow died in the Wish
adults.
Realm. Regina killed them.
I also binge watched a lot of this in the last 24 hours.
The only quote-unquote real people in the Wish Realm are Regina and Emma.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like because if you need a magic bean to leave a realm that technically isn't even a spatial realm, which the bean would say that it is a spatial realm, that means you can get to it from other places, that now that it's been wished into existence. It now exists. So now that this is the first realm difference we've seen where there were multiples.
It's like a parallel timeline now that's been created.
Yeah, how is that all?
I'd be interested to see the Henrys.
Yeah, because Henry was like acting like crazy.
Well, Henry's a knight now.
Yeah,
in the Wish Realm.
Yeah, it's
exactly.
awesome, I think.
So I thought it was awesome. Okay. I was like, I see you, Henry. So like it's just all very interesting, and I think it's going to wind up being kind of confusing if they just like leave it where it is now. That's why I'm hoping they spend at least 10 minutes in the Wish Realm, not just 5.
The show itself has gotten really good feedback when they do the more fairy tale storylines, like when Emma and Hook went back in one of the prior season finales and had their little moments where Emma was in a princess dress for the first time.
Yeah.
You know, they got really good fan reaction to that, and so I think part of this Wish Realm is giving the fans a little bit of what they want, of seeing what the fairy tale world would have been had the Dark Curse not existed.
Yeah.
I think one of the problems we're going to run into, because I think I said this back with the Underworld podcast, I'm really getting tired of Storybrooke just as a setting. It's getting real dry. We've seen it and done it a lot of times, and we've left the Enchanted Forest for so long, especially like we had ogres coming back the last time we were there. Where's Mulan? Where's Philip? Where's Aurora? We got a lot of unraveled lines in there. But I think that their budget is not doing well. I noticed this because we've seen the Blue Fairy in human size, which is a lot cheaper to put on screen, more than we've ever seen her. We saw the Black Fairy barely in fairy form at all, just as a regular sized person. We got not really any magic effects beyond the fireball and the teleportation whirls. And also just, I'm sorry, but I expected there to be a battle between Zelena and the Evil Queen before she had Zelena on death's door, but it was one stroke. So I think that they're not doing very well.
I kind of agree, I agree with you, because there was that sea creature, whatever, I don't remember, that octopus thing that tried to get... the squid or whatever. And I was like... That's from that story arc, which happened in like 2 seconds.
Yeah, the puppy 20,000
But it didn't... That particular effect seemed very generic, cheap. Yeah, I was like, oh, they've done better.
Shark
so it's
still
interesting
looks
they
fake.
mentioned that.
Get it?
Yeah.
It's Back to the Future 2. Okay,
it almost makes you wonder though if maybe they went a little cheaper this part of the season because they're saving that money to do some better things in the next season because of where they are. I mean, they're in the Wish Realm, so maybe they are like kind of saving some of that money and saying,
I love how we're talking about their money now. We're not talking about the characters anymore. We're now talking about your
Sadly,
budget.
it affects plot lines on a lot of
It really does. And because they're doing a full season arc, they're not splitting it up into halves. This first half of season 6, if you will, it was traditionally a little shorter than what they've done in the past too. So Emily could be onto something that they knew this first half where it's maybe setting up. Maybe this is just a really long setup for the real meat and potatoes that's going to come in. But, maybe Emily's right. Maybe they did save a little bit of money in their budget by using effects they already had in their back pocket with the realm, whatever. And they're really going to make some big moves
I hate to be the Emma of this circle. I know we're saying a lot of maybe this and maybe that and maybe this and maybe that, but we did that before.
We've done that for the last 3 seasons.
And try to be optimistic, and they just break our hearts every time.
Yes, but you see, I give people 3 strikes and they're out, and this one's like on 2 3/4 strikes. So I even am loath to make predictions because at this point it's like. I'm not at jumping the shark territory. You have to get pretty bad and have no end in sight to be that kind of show. Need we say it again?
Lost.
No, that's not the end game. You may not have liked the end, but at least you knew there was an end. No, I was going to say Grey's Anatomy, which has been on for way too long.
Seasons.
Yeah. And where the hell are they going to end? I don't know.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. I jumped the shark on that one.
Oh, see, I'm going
so
strong.
God bless you. I jumped so long.
I jumped before you did, actually.
When did you jump? Why are we talking about this? Never mind.
A long time ago, but we don't need to talk about it.
Surprise podcast.
I know, right?
Emily, if you'd like to moderate a Grey's Anatomy panel, I'll show up to record it.
Okay, I can do that.
Okay.
I love Grey's Anatomy.
I'm loath to make predictions because there have been so many disappointments that have happened along the way, and it's not that the disappointments were so cataclysmic before, but now we're in a half season, and maybe it is all just major exposition, like we're setting up something huge down the way, and that's great. The problem is there was 17 different things happening, and
at once.
Very few of them kept me awake. Mm-hmm. So at what point do I say, I
cohesive.
hope?
They weren't cohesive at all.
No, they were complete opposite of cohesive. I'm watching it, but I'm just like Kristen. I waited until just before this podcast when I absolutely had to watch the show. Because I watched the first 2 episodes live, or maybe close to live. Right. Maybe I did it on Hulu.
I hate commercials, so I let it record for at least an hour and then I watch it.
Okay. And I watched those first 2 episodes, but they were so boring to me.
Yeah.
And so underwhelming and so like what is this season about? That I was like, I can't.
It's really sad the Food Network beat out Once Upon a Time. The Holiday Baking Championship was way more interesting than Once Upon a Time.
Yeah. I'm just disappointed with, again, like the first 2 episodes, like you said, Kylie, they set it up so well with the evil queen coming back, and she was killed, and then she was brought back to life again at the end of season 5, and then
even though I enjoy Lana Perila's
I love the pure evil queen.
Yes, except this season she wasn't really the pure evil queen.
No.
She was the campiest she has ever been.
As the evil queen.
There was like all these little weird puns and one-liners, which is fine if that's what they had set her up
from the beginning,
but she wasn't. She was actually truly viciously evil, and I didn't feel like this was a dark side of Regina at all, except for the fact that she cast a few spells.
See, I agree. I don't think she's dark at all. I think she's just, I'm the evil queen.
With really fancy dresses and crazy hair.
Yeah. I mean, I loved seeing what she was going to wear, but...
I was going to say, that brings up an interesting point, though, because I think we talked about it in the last one when I was looking back at the previews, was that I think you said that Regina was going to Eddie said that you predicted that Regina would realize that she wasn't her full self without the evil queen with her. So that does bring up an interesting point, is that maybe that is why the evil queen isn't quite as evil as we always thought she was, because she isn't the whole that is Regina and the evil queen, because they are, like, they're not as polar opposite as we'd like to believe.
Which I can totally get behind that, and I like that theory. The problem is the joke went on way too long.
Yeah. Oh, I agree.
Okay, so that brings up a question. Do you think that they'll ever fuse those 2 characters together again?
I think they
have
have
to.
They
have to
because they
resolution.
Can't. Well, and I think people love Regina and love the fact that there was that evil inside of her, and I feel like I love Regina, but I think she's a little boring. I think they're both a little boring without being fused together.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
exactly.
And Regina's whole evolution is supposed to be about how does the evil queen turn from a villain to a hero.
Exactly.
And if they don't, I like that they separate them because I really miss the pure evil queen, but if they don't resolve it by bringing the 2 halves back together to make a perfect whole, then what's the point of her story? They took the cheap way out.
They did address that when we got another completely enigmatic, more question-raising appearance from our good friend, the Dragon.
Yes! He was in New York!
Side note, he did, well, I'm assuming that the mirror dimension connects all mirrors everywhere,
Probably.
which is a ridiculous thing to try to imagine. But I just a little side note, I'm glad that he did throw in a line that implies that he may be Lily's father, that's possible. He says he has a daughter that he abandoned.
Oh, I
That
missed
makes
that.
sense.
I might have been sleeping.
I missed that too.
Dragon.
Back to the, relating to the Regina thing,
much
he
exposition.
kind of, called her out on it, you kind of cheated, not what I meant by whole defeating your evil side. I didn't mean literally do it, I mean, within yourself, so... What are
I
you
do
doing
have to
with
think it was interesting, and maybe it was just me, but when they went into the... What are we calling it? The Wish Realm.
The Wish Realm.
And then when she turned in, when Regina had to become the evil queen so that Emma knew who she was, I thought that was the old evil queen.
Yeah.
I thought she was more evil in the Wish Realm than the evil queen that's back at Storybrooke.
But it was also kind of semi-humorous to see her all done up in her evil queen garb, but then be really nice Regina, I just thought that kind of
Come on, be a hero.
that juxtaposition was really
when she
was
got
really
dressed up in it and then she switched and she was like...
But then she's like, I just did this. I just killed your parents and you still don't believe me? She was being real Regina dressed up as...
Did anybody
evil
get why
perspective.
they were so old?
Because in
Time
this
had
one,
passed.
Emma was they never had to send her away to survive the Dark Curse.
So they never went away. So
She
they were
was-
never under the curse. So time never froze.
She
So
was
that's
just
why
born.
they didn't have a son?
They were happy with the child she was, because it's her big wish.
Yeah, her Snow's wish was just that she wanted a
But
child
she
and
still
wanted to
Henry,
grow up.
that was the thing. It was like, oh yeah, Balefire apparently also never left this country.
Right, because then
Henry...
Henry had Henry.
Yeah.
Why are they even doing the Henry part?
Because they had to make
painting
it...
of him as a knight.
But they made reference that, Balefire, he died in the Ogre Wars or whatever it was. He lived a valiant life and died a hero, and they still had a son
But how
together.
did Emma and Balefire meet each other in the Enchanted
It's Emma's
Forest?
wish.
It's a smaller forest than it was.
It's not a lot of fish in the...
We don't even know the population of Storybrooke, let alone this whole realm.
I know.
There's
Storybrooke,
thousands. They have a municipal school system.
With a bunch of children, but whose children are they?
Yeah.
P.S. Who fell for or liked or cared about Snow wanting to become a teacher?
Oh my god, the whole Snow... All of a sudden, I'm like, how? Okay, you can't just jump back into. Are we in the middle of the school year? Where are these?
The mayor.
But there were kids around. That's been your wish.
There were kids around, but I didn't care about the kids actually. But it was just weird because all of a sudden she jumped in. She's starting to teach. It's like, well, who taught that lesson before? Are we just
Princess
creating?
Yeah, surprise TA.
Okay, Princess. Yeah. Well, and I'm like, I don't understand that. So that did bother me. It didn't bother me that she wanted to do teaching again, but all of a sudden it's like, well, I want us to be normal again, so now I'm going to start teaching physics or whatever the hell she was trying. I don't know what she was trying to teach, but right now, at this moment, all of a sudden she
There was a job opening, okay? And she jumped on it.
Her and David's storylines.
She snaps her fingers and she gets what she wants.
Exactly. But and jumped right even in the middle of the lesson. Who wants to solve X? I'm like, do we know how to solve X? I don't understand.
In what way?
What were the constants of that equation?
So it bothered. I don't know. And then she was like, "Okay, now I've got to show them that I can throw an arrow or."
Well, she had to teach them by using her strengths because she wasn't reaching them the way that she
and
thought
I got
she
it. I
should,
understood it, but I was
that was
like,
the worst episode of the season.
Yeah, that bothered
What was that,
me.
3? It was early.
It was
really early.
Thankfully. It was
Not good.
Yeah,
Not good at all. But I also want to come back to the 20,000 Leagues thing. Something
I felt
very...
That was so confusing to
I
me.
It was
could not-
confusing and just a completely wasted use of that story.
I had to rewind that.
He was fabulous.
A great Captain Nemo.
I had to rewind that 5 times. I'm like,
whole,
how did we
his
get
brother,
here?
his son.
I still can't figure out how
half-brother.
Henry got there. How did Henry all of a sudden show up?
Because he
I
was
don't
with
know.
Hook.
Yeah,
When did he get with
How did
Hook?
Hook get
Because it
there?
was a flashback. Then it was
No,
real.
it wasn't a
was
flashback.
because
No, that looked very similar to present day.
Because they were
That's
both
why
on the
it's
ship,
so
but
confused.
Hook was supposed to dispose of the shears. He hid them because he was worried about Emma. The Evil Queen told Henry that so that he would hate Hook because stepdad, stepson problems, right?
Yep, got
So
that.
he was going to go dispose of the actual shears
Yup.
somehow in a boat of some. He was
Well,
going to use
he's
the
a
boat.
captain. Keep going.
No, Henry was using the boat. So
Right.
Hook finds him,
Yeah.
and right at that very moment,
Why was Henry using the boat?
It
I
was
don't.
the-
We
don't know. We don't know.
Maybe he was
Nobody
going to try to.
knows.
I
save
just
him as
thought
well.
you seemed to know, so okay. Continue.
No, I mean, we don't know.
He was getting. I think it was a rowboat as
It
well.
was a
He
rowboat.
We were gonna like go out
Yeah.
there
And
and
just,
then
like,
And then
throw 'em.
dunk them.
But yeah, no, at that very moment, we see the Nautilus come up from the deep. They go to run, but crewmen from the Nautilus, completely
One of
dry.
them is Liam.
Well, he's the
Yeah.
captain now because
Oh,
Nemo has
right.
been hurt. But there
I
are
was
two
very-
random
I was
crewmen
just
already on shore. That means that Liam was like, all right, we need advanced scouts to go find them, trap
Yeah,
them,
and bring
trap
them to
them.
the,
Yeah.
the
Good
waterfront.
tactical thinking on your part, but it was very, very weird.
yeah.
What confused me was I thought Hook's like real like whole brother's name was Liam, like
It
from
was.
long ago. So
That's
then
the
I
point.
was super confused when it was like, okay, now you have a half brother named Liam too, and
That's
I was like,
the they explained it in a previous
Previous
season.
yeah, I
episode.
didn't even
Flashback.
like.
Yeah,
I missed
where
it.
his father,
That's I can
Didn't
tell.
he?
Yeah.
Didn't he like remarry and
Yeah.
He did.
and he had another child?
but he
and
named him
named
Liam to try to
So
make
in
up
his
for his
mind,
past mistakes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which makes
Keep up, Emily. Keep up.
Which made Alien understandably angry,
Yeah.
so he killed his father.
So confused.
Yes.
Orphaning Liam, who then finds out, because he overheard the exact right moment,
Yep.
a lot of, I'm not blaming that on the show, everything everywhere has
It's
done
a
that.
yeah.
It's a trope.
And so, yeah, we had the whole, it was a very, very messy use of
Because isn't the real
one of
Liam
those
dead?
stories.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. half-brother
the full-
Liam is-
The full brother Liam is dead.
Full
Yeah.
Liam is dead.
Half Liam.
Liam 2 is still
Liam
alive
2.0.
and
Mark
kicking
2,
along
Mark
with
2.
Nemo. Yeah.
Wow.
20,000 Leagues Under the
Which,
Sea.
that made me mad because while a lot of people really, really don't like the movie League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, I like that all those characters from just literature they turned literature into like a fandom. And so they were using those and like, okay, we got Jekyll and Hyde. Cool. Oh, and they went to this place with all these like steampunk things. I think it's going to be these stories. And we did get another one of those stories, but it wasn't related to Jekyll and Hyde at all. It was barely related to the Land of Untold Stories, which only got thrown in as an afterthought of how they got there.
Yeah.
I only remember the Land of
Yeah.
Untold Stories when the thing was coming in and it like crashed. Like
When the
Why didn't
dirigible
Dirigible?
was coming in.
Yeah.
spend more time there? Did it
Yeah.
die?
Budget. Well, the whole like land when we were there in the previous season
Oh,
half
wait.
was
Didn't they try
CGI
feeding
because
them?
everything was floating rocks and
Yeah.
we laid out
It was like a weird like marketplace.
'Cause it was
So
the
they didn't
mysterious
save that
isles.
file?
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
I don't understand.
Yeah, this season was just. I enjoyed
it's
it.
half. It's only half.
Yeah, this
It
half
is,
season,
but
I
I mean,
enjoyed it, but there was just so many things going on.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, the Cinderella thing is over. The 20,000 Leagues thing is presumably over. Jekyll and Hyde got dropped real quick because we
Yep.
already pointed that out.
Yeah,
And Aladdin flat out said, "Oh, you'll see me again." So we know they're
Yeah.
coming back.
yeah,
I mean, at
but we
least
don't
give
know
us-
when or how.
No,
That's
we
something
don't.
that could potentially be over for this season.
Well, and again, going back to what the producers have said, last season was all about exploring the Dark One mythology. The overarching idea for season 6 is the savior mythology. So we're probably maybe going to meet another savior or two, or
I have
Aladdin's
to
going to
say,
come
if
back.
this is the
or-
exploration of the savior mythology,
They're doing
it
a
is
horrible job.
completely underwhelming.
Yes.
I have never been so disappointed by a storyline then, and I'm not even being
Yeah.
hyperbole because that's the whole central focus of the central character
is
of the
fact
show,
that she's
and
a
they're
savior,
not
and it's her
executing it
wrestling
well.
with the fact that she's a savior.
The only headcanon I can make up for why they brought in, like, why the tremors would happen at all, and this is completely BS'd in, like, the last 20 minutes while I've been thinking about it, is that, as a savior, it's her destiny to save people and help give them a happy ending. Like, she's part of the reason why the saviors might not get a happy ending is because they kind of take that fate from villains and redeem those villains, so they can have that. But the line of the strand, because we saw that nice follow the strand, that was a fun little weird thing. The strand of her
Yes,
fate
she
was
does.
coming to a close because she was destined to be killed by the hooded figure.
Yeah.
And so her fate as a savior was being confronted with its antithesis, which is she needs to save herself, but she can't because the savior can save everyone except for themselves. So it's kind of like their body is like, I don't know what to do because all I do is save, but I can't do what I do. So that's, once again, bull crap. But I like it. It helps me feel better.
It definitely makes you sleep better at night.
Well, it's a very nice theory, and it has way more cohesiveness than anything this season.
Yeah.
So I would like, if that is something maybe that they're trying to toy with.
I don't. Maybe they do this, maybe they don't. Any writing team for anything, as soon as they finish kind of where they're at with a story, they need to have many groups like this, have people sift through that, and take ideas from the fans, because not everybody is good enough of a writer to write a season, but maybe they can write 5 minutes. And maybe you take that 5-minute idea and you can turn it into something, because you are a professional writer. So
But here again, the 2 showrunners are from Lost.
Yes.
Which, once again, I loved Lost, but...
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody's a butt. If
I'm
you
the
want,
same
I'm the
person.
same
the
way.
backflip. That shit did not land it well.
No, didn't stick it.
If
And
they end the show
that's what I'm
even
feeling is
remotely
happening right
close
now.
to how they ended that show,
I feel like we just
I may
entered a
quit TV.
sideways.
I may just stay with the movie.
Gosh.
That's one thing that kind of bugs me, because Aladdin reminded me, well, just pretty much because he's the only other thief character we've had. He reminded me very heavily of Will Scarlet. Who I love.
Yeah, where did he go?
Shh, don't ask
He was
questions.
supposed to be a series regular, and then he just poof.
I was just thinking about it.
Micah, before you continue, though, I should point out that on the blog when I do the entry around the podcast links, for the long-running series, like Once Upon a Time, we do questions. I know you're saying shh, but the joke is that for like the past 3 or 4 things, it's been, where is Maleficent? Still no answer. Where is Will Scarlet?
Still no answer.
I think with where Will was, I think his appearance on the Once main storyline was previous to the Wonderland storyline. So his happy ending that we saw on that show is where he is right now. It's just there was a time difference.
Well, if they
But
could
problem
explain
is-
that.
Even though they brought him onto the main Once show after Once Upon a Time in Wonderland had been canceled.
Yeah, that was really weird.
I know,
First of all,
so weird.
I actually enjoyed Wonderland a lot more than I thought I did. I was
did
just kind of
too.
watching it because it was like the first or
It's a little
second
rough
season
to
of
get
Once, and
into
I was
for
like
me.
really jonesing for Once stuff. But like, they did that spin-off out of nowhere. No plot lines linked. Like, it wasn't like, we had this kind of Underland thing we did in an episode, we want to expand on that. It just came out of nowhere, and then they stopped it. And
I
now
felt
we've
like I
had
had to watch Wonderland to continue watching
a
Once.
little bit.
That's the only reason I watched Wonderland.
I don't know.
But then now we've had, especially with this half season, we've had all these different plot lines for these different realms that would make great spin-offs, but they're like, we're not going to do that.
Well,
Like,
no, not
I'll
if
watch
they don't
Once
have the
Upon a Time
budget
in
for
Agrabah.
visual effects. They're not going to make a whole new show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like this is what I'm saying. I mean, I'm going to stick with it personally, and I hope the second half of the season is way better. That's my only hope.
Oh,
That's where I'm at. Oh, I don't want to say only hope. That makes me sad. Too soon.
Oh, wait
Oh,
I'm sorry. They're owned by the same company.
Disney Princess, she is officially now a Disney Princess, Princess Leia. I will argue anyone on that.
There's actually a petition to make her
There's
an
a
official
petition.
Disney princess.
Is there a petition for Mulan? Is that... Can we...
Mulan,
You did that rant the last time.
Mulan is considered a
For the rest of my
princess, even though it's not
Yeah, so they
official.
can put
Yeah.
reflection on the Disney Princess's seed.
Oh,
Also rant
Oh,
on that.
snap.
But I'll use that as a jumping point to get back on track. Why are we abandoning Mulan? We're literally pawning her off on potential love interest after potential love interest, and then she just has to leave while that person has found their new happy ending. Like, where is Merida? That's my main question about anything. Where? Where did they go?
Where,
Well,
what,
we had
where,
this-
when,
yeah.
why, how?
Why?
We had the same
Where?
questions about Archie, and we had the same
Yeah.
question about, maybe you wondered where Dr. Frankenstein/Whale was. I don't know.
Apparently
I
he's
mean,
in the hospital,
he's
just
in
the
the
actor's
hospital.
busy, so we couldn't see him.
This
Yeah.
is what I'm saying, so it's probably the same for all these other people, too. Mulan included. Because
My-
she does have a career outside of
Yeah.
this show.
I was gonna say, I'm wondering if we're going to bring back some of those people in the Wish realm, like they brought back Robin, because this is the world that Emma, like, she had all of these people as friends, and so I'm wondering if these are characters that we're going to see again, because Kristen said during the last podcast that this season was supposed to be like bringing it back to the first season.
But it's
So
not just her
I'm-
wish realm, though.
No, I know.
Because
But
Regina wished herself there, too.
yeah, so that's
So
why
it's
I'm
like
kind
both.
of wondering
Sorry,
what's going to
back on what you
happen.
were saying.
Yeah, and so that's why I'm kind of wondering what's going to happen in the Wish Realm, because they now have the potential to bring back these people that they've.
The famous word.
I know the potential, but
I'm kind of
I don't think they should abuse the Wish Realm. I mean, I don't think it should be over in a blip.
no,
I'm
I
with
don't think
Amie.
they
I
should,
think they're
like,
going to cut it in
concentrate on
2
it.
seconds.
They should start tying up a lot of the strings they have up in the air. Like, I'm okay with saying goodbye to a lot of the characters I like, if that means that it's going to get cleaner and that opens up room for new characters.
I'm okay if they get rid of the Wish Realm really quick. If they bring Robin back really quick. If they don't bring Robin back and he for some god awful reason stays and Regina hurts all over again, the grievance process.
Now, here's a fantastic question for you. If you recall your rules from Aladdin, the movie, when the genie is reciting the rules of genie wishing, one of them is he can't bring people back from the dead. So how can we even hope for that for Robin Hood? Assuming they're following the same rules.
And once again, bringing in my thing of like, is this a real place now?
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
I don't think Robin Hood's back for good. I don't think he's getting out of that
I
Wish
think
Realm.
Regina's going to get her closure with Robin.
I do.
Wish
Yeah,
Realm.
and I hope so too, because that seems to be pulling her down, like, personally.
Maybe
That's why she's so this like part of
She's
the
still grieving, probably. She's pissed off at her
She
sister.
didn't really have a lot of time. It was like one episode difference, and now she's got an evil twin to deal with. Which
Yeah,
was very similar to
and then
Emma
she's
when
still
Pope
sorting
died.
out her feelings with blaming Zelina, and she doesn't hide that at all. I blame you. I still blame you, and I'm just here
I'm
helping
the only
you
one
because
that likes Zelina.
I like her now.
I like her better than I did. I like her better than I
I've
did.
never liked her. I still don't like her. Sorry.
I'm saying I like her better than I did. That doesn't mean I like her. I'm just saying she's.
I mean,
moved
we're
up a notch.
supposed to hate her, but I didn't like her when she first
when she was
appeared.
first on, I hated her. I'm like, why is she even here?
Yes.
I hate her. But now I'm like, okay, like you have some
Motherhood has
moral,
helped.
you have like some moral compass in you somewhere deep down.
And the thing that I really want to also kind of hit on is that I know there's a lot of talk about the Wish Realm, but I think the bigger story is Gideon. Gideon is what they're going to concentrate
I
on.
first of all have to blame myself because it was like, who's the hooded figure that's killing Emma in his hooded robe? Here's a guy wearing a hooded robe with his hood off. Oh man, who's this figure? We see him again wearing a hooded robe. I got no idea who this person is.
Oh my god! I did the same thing!
But
These
for
two
the record,
characters
the
that we
hood was
don't-
the robes were a different color.
Everything was different.
Between
color 'cause it was
Morpheus
weird, like,
and Gideon,
dark.
they were different colors.
That's so funny. Never even. Yeah.
I was like, he literally was wearing the same outfit, but I was just like, is it Regina?
And he
Doesn't
still
wear
has
that
the
ever?
same horrible haircut.
And we all did that. We all did that.
Well, I know a lot of
don't know
people,
what I
like,
thought.
they wanted us to believe it was going to be the evil queen for a while, too. Or they
I
were trying
never
to make
once
us-
thought
I never thought it
never
was.
thought
I was like,
Why did
hey,
she kill her with his sword?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was
David
thinking. Like,
challenged
it's not.
her to a duel, and she's like,
No.
Yeah.
no, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. So I think I think that whole storyline is going to get really interesting given the familial ties between Belle and
I'm telling you,
Gideon,
I
and-
really hope they use Belle.
I hope they
Again,
do
big
too.
word to her potential.
Potential.
Because I think she's the only one that can stop him.
Yeah.
This could also be a reason for Rumple and Belle to find common ground again.
Yeah.
Because
This-
they both don't like what they're... Because I don't imagine that Gideon is just going to be like, come on, Dad, let's rule together. Because that's something that people like us do well. Like, no,
Yeah.
he's going to try to get one over on Rumple.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, which
I think
is kind of sad because I wanted Belle to have a child that she could love and like really nurture and mother, but she got robbed of that, and now Gideon's kind of.
But it was also her choice to give
Yeah.
that up, too.
Yeah.
It was just,
That was a great-
unfortunately, the consequence isn't what she thought it was going to be.
Right.
Mhm.
And I think that, I mean, they have set up by her past dreams that Gideon is resentful of Rumple, just flat
Yeah,
out.
not of his mother, but of Rumple.
Right.
Well,
So the
yeah.
question is going to be, where does that resentment come from? And also, how does the Black Fairy really figure in all
Yeah,
of this,
did she-
other than being just a bad influence with a mediocre costume?
Did she
Yeah.
take her handsome hero? Did she take the book and just kind of honor that request? Because that was kind of like Belle's parting gift to Gideon, was like, read this book to him so he knows that his mom loves him. Like, did the Black Fairy keep that going?
We'll find out.
That
That wasn't
seems real.
addressed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a monster. Also, my main question when they brought her in, because everybody's like, okay, what is Rumple doing with these kids? Like, okay, he was trying to sacrifice them to, like, find his mom. What is she doing with these kids?
Yeah.
Does she have, like, a generation of evil kids, or, like, prisoner kids? Or
Yeah, we don't know.
does she
we
eat
know-
the kids? Because in the original
Yeah.
Rumpelstiltskin lore, he eats the kids. He sings a song about eating kids. So
I
it's
don't
like, you
think
can't
he
just
eats
take
the
kids.
No.
Where,
This is
what?
a family show.
Yeah, because like
Cannibalism's not part of it.
When you say like eats the children, like that's when my mind jumps to like the witch and Hansel and Gretel. But we already did all of that,
Yeah.
so it can't be that. So
No.
it's just kind of makes you wonder what she really is. What is her?
Is there magic in, like, the hearts of babies that, like, sustains her or something like that? 'Cause
I wonder.
they're good.
I wonder if she's the witch that turned him into the beast.
That's the thing. We had our Dark One explode.
What's that look for?
No, I'm like.
You see what I'm saying? You know how like the that he was
So,
What do you
yeah,
mean? We already explored
We
that.
already did that.
We did.
The Dark One turned him into the Beast. He accepted the Dark One essence, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's what
it's
changes
not like
him into
enchantress.
the
The
Beast.
Beast.
I
As-
tried really hard.
As well as the crocodile has
I'm still
just
trying
been
to figure
other
out.
names for the Dark One.
Yeah,
Which-
exactly.
Is kind of like I'm okay with it, but like
He's only
it's a
been
little
35 different people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's been like all of the bad guys in all of the stories, which like sucks.
That's
because
what makes
they
him the
had-
ultimate
Yeah.
dark one, though.
Maybe the
Yeah.
Black Fairy is related to the Shadow from Neverland, which they never explained either.
Oh,
There's
That's
some
possible.
that's probably still been my favorite.
As amazing as the actor is and as the character has been, honestly, if there was any time where they could have killed Rumple and had it work, it would be the first time.
Yeah.
Because it was at the end of the best arc they've ever had, and I was okay with that. I would have been fine with, okay, now there's room for another big villain presence that they're now lacking, and that's been part of it. They're getting really overcrowded with magic users at this point.
They are.
I really never wanted Emma to have magic in the traditional sense. I liked her as the she was a bond bailsman. She would go out and catch
Yeah.
people
Her
physically. She
superpower of
would get 'em.
detecting liars.
Yeah, which we've seen
Yeah.
twice since season 1.
Well, no, she did it this half season, and she still
Yeah.
insists it's her superpower, even though she's got other
You
superpowers.
literally can tell. What is the qualification?
I don't understand why she's still haranguing the superpower of lie detector, but okay, fine.
Live your life. Live your life, Emma.
You do you, Emma.
Yeah.
I feel like with this, at least for this half season, once again, we don't know if they've got just a big roundhouse coming for us that
Yeah.
we're gonna love. But they knew where they wanted to go with half the characters, but they didn't know how to get there.
No.
And so they made it up as they went.
And I also am just starting to feel like some of the actors, not all of them, I think Robert Carlyle is very reliable, who plays Rumple. I think Emily DeRavin has really grown into
Oh,
Belle.
Oh yeah.
But I'm thinking more like Jennifer Morrison as
Yes.
Emma. I feel like she's phoning it in a
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
bit. I feel like Josh Dallas and Jennifer Goodwin are phoning
Especially
it
They've
in.
phoned it in for a while
Wow.
now, and I love Jennifer
Love
Goodwin.
both
Yeah.
of them so much.
Well, hey, remember
so
they do have
much.
a semi-newborn baby at home, and I think
Yeah.
she's pregnant with number 2, or she
Yeah, I think
she
she
just
had
had
number
number
two.
She
2.
had number 2.
So they have 2 tiny babies in real life
See,
together.
when they're not on set, they got
So
trailers,
then
folks.
don't be.
Yeah,
If you
It's
want to
just
take
a
some loose ends,
hiatus.
sequester
Yeah,
them,
seriously,
send them
like,
away somewhere for a season.
Make them the quest that people must quest to.
Yeah.
So that's a
Oh,
simple
that would
writing
be-
technique.
I agree. I don't, not to sound callous or anything, but I don't care about the outside life if it's affecting your character arc, and that's the entertainment. I don't have any invested. I love Jennifer Goodwin. That has nothing to do with her or Josh Dallas. But I'm saying if that is a reason that affects the performance or the story arc or my interest in the characters, then that's hurting the show and that's hurting your career. Write it differently then, or negotiate with the story writers or the producers. Like, can we do something? They do it for people who have other gigs.
Or
And
maybe
they
they
did it
wrote
for
Belle's
Belle.
pregnancy into the
Yeah,
storyline.
exactly.
That's
So
why
they
this whole
made
thing
her
is
sleep,
happening.
And
So
then they
make
had
it-
her sleep for a while.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's all I'm saying is I'm not trying to sound callous, but I can't excuse that when the bread and butter of the show is these characters and their development and it being believable and entertaining. But for a while they've been kind of stale to me.
Yeah.
And then there's Colin O'Donoghue. God love him. I love him.
Yeah.
I'm not good
We
at
all
the actor
favorite.
names.
That's Hook. We all know that I'm not a fan of Hook. I really haven't been. However, I have to say, if this half season has done anything for me, it's made me love Hook.
He gives a good performance. Like, he's trying.
He is
But
trying
I feel like
so
the writers
hard.
are doing him no favors.
Exactly.
Honestly, him and Henry were
the best they've
stronger
ever been.
parts of the
I was
season.
proud of Henry, actually.
And like, when are we gonna? There's gonna have to be a torch passing.
That's what you
At some point, because like we established that Henry has the heart of the true believer way back. Didn't call that up again until he used the wishing well in our world, which was pretty cool. He's now the author. Like, is that what? Doesn't he have responsibilities? Because he hasn't been the author at all.
He didn't do it at all this season.
I think Henry needs some adventures of his own.
He did it a lot in the underworld, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that
he
was so they
great
could
in
like try to figure out how to beat Hades, but it just helped people. Which once again, I was cool with that too. I was really cool with like King Arthur, underworld cop, like that whole like thing that he had going on. But
I'm sensing a spinoff.
Do you know how much? Like, I didn't even want Hook to come back to life at the end of that episode because him and Arthur were such a great team.
Yeah.
They were a ridiculously enjoyable team. But you know, here we are.
Yeah, I just love Hook so much. I've loved him from the beginning.
The hearts are coming again. Hearts.
So many hearts. I love Hook. And when he died, I was so devastated. And then they brought him back to life, and I was so happy.
You rejoiced for the day.
I did. And I loved him in this season. He was like standing up for himself, and he's like, I'm doing this, and like, I'm trying to help you, Emma, and you have to let me help you. And like, he was.
You should know by now to let people help you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's also in part why Emma comes off a little annoying with how she's like, well, I can't tell my family or people.
Because
like,
she has to do everything
like,
on her own.
Yeah, but you know what? And Hook is so good to being patient with that, because I'd be like, bitch, please.
Exactly.
Come on now.
Well, I wonder if Emma just
Micah.
thinks that like the savior
Better.
thing is her burden to bear on her own. And so maybe she'll finally realize in the second half of season 6 that being the savior is more than just more than just you. You need help from other people.
She said it this half season.
Did
something
she?
about finally saying no more secrets and
Yeah, but I feel like
I'm
she
the
says that
savior.
every time, doesn't she? She kind of
But this time it was sitting around the dinner table, so maybe there was a finality to it. I don't know. I mean, I'm not.
It's not like we've seen Aladdin learn the very specific lesson that he doesn't have to be the savior and that he can rely on his friends to get things done. But let's not have her hear any of that conversation.
I mean, the thing about it is when you start to repeat storylines and repeat storylines and repeat storylines, you're circling a drain. And that's really what I have to caution at this point. And that's really where I'm at. Like, it might be that if I don't see an ending in sight, I'm going to want to jump the shark. If they continue along the same road, because that's what's happening. The signposts are telling me they're out of ideas, or they're out of a way to figure out how to make all the different ideas they're having jive together in a satisfying way. This half season, I'm going to take Eddie's line. This next half season is a make it or break it. I really think.
I don't want to end up quitting watching and then finishing the last season or 2 seasons of the series on Netflix someday.
Yeah.
I'd like to.
I would like.
be
I
with
agree.
it till
I'm
the
gonna
end.
stick with it. I'm gonna
sticking
stick with
with
it
it.
to the
Try.
end.
I'm still going to watch it.
I've got
I mean,
a lot
that's
of
what
things
I'm
to
doing.
watch.
I mean, Grey's Anatomy again. Like, I'm
Well,
sorry.
You're holding on for dear life.
Yeah.
You are, girl. I was like pieced out of there real.
You're kind of like the statistical anomaly of the
Yeah.
group. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, okay. Just a quick
But you
side
need
note
those.
on Grey's Anatomy. Like, I watched that show.
So
like, I
that's
watched
impressive.
seasons 1 through 8, like, in one summer. So, like, I binge watched that on Netflix, and then I started up, like, with the season in the fall, and, like, I've been watching it since then.
Oh, okay.
So that's how that all
To go
happened.
week by week for the past decade would be a little more.
Yeah, I feel like if I,
Okay. That makes more sense.
yeah, so I'm not even, I wasn't like a diehard fan from the beginning.
I was though, and
I didn't hop onto this show until season 3, so I definitely understand the whole like, wait, what is this show? I don't really like that.
it was
actress.
season 2
I
for
just
me.
don't
Yeah, it
watch
was season 2 for me. Yeah.
I still remember the season premiere.
Yep, I was
I do
home
too.
watching it.
I was home.
Me
I watched
too.
it live.
I made that an appointment.
Yep, me too.
So everybody's going to keep watching. At this point, would you still recommend Once Upon a Time? Why or why not?
Oh, sorry.
Can I go first?
Yeah,
Can I go?
We
Because
all
I
took
actually.
a breath and just
I
held our mouths
know.
open for a second, like,
Well, let me go first because I haven't actually gone first on any of the questions.
do it.
So, well, no, I like to listen. It's okay. to recommend it, but the thing is, you can't recommend it. For me, I can't recommend it at this point without somebody sitting down. They have to actually be invested in wanting to learn all of these characters and balancing all of that from season 1 to now. And because I don't feel confident of where we are necessarily now, I don't feel like telling somebody to make that investment. Because it is. I tried to go back and watch season 1 and I was like, ooh, this kind of hurts my head a little bit. I don't want to relearn all of this stuff. So the answer is, I don't know to no. I can't say a confident yes.
You bring up a trend, which I didn't notice it at all, but it's been happening the last couple of years, and I've been doing it more often. I don't watch stuff really probably only 10% of the time. I always have stuff on. I've always got my phone. I'm always goofing around on my phone while I'm having the things on, which hurts me in some things. Like I haven't watched any House of Cards in a while because it's a show you gotta watch. You gotta be present. I started watching Man in the High Castle, another one, which that one makes me put the phone down. Big recommendation to all you couch potato people out there. But with this show, this show is definitely one that even when I was like watching through it the first time and really invested in all of it, it's still like the first few seasons I could fall asleep watching it. I get mad because I have to wake up, rewind Netflix, and do that again. So trying to ask someone, like, I think I could recommend somebody is like, watch at least up until season 3. Because even if only those first 3 seasons in the show had ended after Neverland, and I know I harp on Neverland a lot for being great, but I really think it was, that one I can say, nobody's going to come back at me and be mad that I recommended that they watch that. Nobody, like, people know Frozen is in the show. People that have seen 0 episodes know that it's there. It's already a road bump for them, and they're not even as vested as we were. So it's hard to say, watch this really good show, and then watch this crap, and then just hang in there so that you and me can talk in, like,
right,
a few months.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I would say I can recommend it up to a point, but as far as recommending it just as a show to put into your real house, I also... It depends on who I'm talking to.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah. With the whole multitasking, like just being not as present.
Which is a problem.
It's good. I kind of the same way. I'm not actively recommending it to new viewers, but to the people who maybe started watching it and fell off, or they were like, I just don't know about, I really don't like Frozen. My big thing is push through Frozen. Just get through that really horrible half season, and things start to get better. I think... As much as I kind of harped on how bad this season was when we first started this particular podcast episode, I do think it is going to go on the upswing. I really think they're trying hard. And so what I tell people, just get through Frozen, come back, and see what happens. But
I was going to say I'm on the same boat as Kristen. Anytime somebody's like, oh, Once Upon a Time, I'm like, if you really want to watch it, you have to watch it. And you also have to push through, you have to power through Frozen, because Frozen sucked, but once you make it to the other side of that bridge, it's good. It gets really good again, with all of the Dark One, and Emma becoming the Dark One and all that stuff. I thought that was really strong writing, and so I'm very, very hopeful that the second half of the season is going to, bring that back, because they do... That stupid word again. They have so much potential that I'm hoping
we're getting t-shirts made.
Really, And I'm hoping they really They
Remind
really
me to
use
hashtag potential when I post this.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with all of you. The show they're making it harder to recommend it to people, which therefore makes less people watch it, which therefore I'm getting greedy. I want a damn ending. That's where the point I'm getting. I'm ready for you to end it. Or you need to make it you need to start making it cohesive, where it actually makes sense, and I don't have to thank God that it's on my DVR and I can watch it 30 times. I mean, I still talk to people about it, but it's people that, like Kristen said, people that did start watching it, and, I mean, Frozen was bad, but I can't believe I'm saying this. I thought this half of the season was as bad, if not worse, based on the fact of just how all over the place it was.
I
will
agree
that Frozen, while it was a stupid story that barely served anything,
it was cohesive.
They knew what it was.
Yeah, it was well written.
It was very solid.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason I say that. I still agree that Frozen has been the worst, but it
was forced.
It was so, it was.
It was
want money.
It's not it's honestly, I think they were our ratings are going down and we need people to watch.
They needed an injection.
That's
so
what they needed.
Here, let's throw Elsa and Anna in. because Frozen, all the 10-year-old girls love this movie. I'm like,
So good.
it's not.
So it's funny because if you've listened to our Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. podcast, which is the same network, the same company now because they bought the MCU, we got to a point on that panel where we all said, we cannot recommend this show anymore. We can't do it. I am very close to that on Once Upon a Time as well.
I'm glad I'm not on that panel.
I know.
This last half season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. took me to so many wonderful places. But we're not talking about that.
You might want to listen to it and
I'm
then
going
get
to.
mad.
I want to sit there and be mad about comments
We
that
had
I
some
can't respond
struggles we had some struggles on that one, and we can definitely talk offline. But for this one, I actually, Eddie, that you bring that up, I'm kind of ecstatic that you did, because I was going to make a similar statement. I don't hate Frozen. I don't like it as much as apparently 7 billion other people do, but
For the record, let me say this. Maybe this is how you feel. I don't hate Frozen. Honestly, I thought the movie was adorable. I thought it was a cheapskate for a show that had, again, our favorite word, potential to do something way different.
Well, I thought the movie was cute, but way overblown and overhyped and oversold. And, well, that's part of the problem. So then that's why you're saying that it's cheap on a TV show. Well, I was already feeling that about the movie, so you're absolutely right. When I went to the TV show, I was like, what?
Yeah, what were
are
they
you
going to
doing
pull
to me?
out of that movie that was going to rivet an adult audience?
Exactly. Yeah. However, your observation that it was a better executed story is spot on. It had a beginning, middle, and end.
Yep.
They resolved it. It was the resolution and the whole Snow Queen business and all of that. Completely intriguing.
And she's an amazing actress.
She
one of my
is,
favorite
Elizabeth
from the
Mitchell.
last
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Elizabeth Mitchell.
Elizabeth Mitchell.
Mrs. Claus in
She did. She was also on V, and she's been on a lot of stuff.
She's an ABC regular.
Yeah. That arc was problematic, but it didn't leave me feeling the same way that this...
I felt satisfied when it ended.
The only reason the Frozen arc was problematic is because it was thrown in our face. If the movie wouldn't have been done, and we hadn't had to deal with Frozen forever, and a million girls and playing drinking games when Elsa's come to your house during
and
Halloween.
let it go.
Right. I believe that season wouldn't have been that bad.
I agree.
We probably would have all been very impressed. Like,
I would.
what was all this new magic? We got mirrors. We got what's this troll? That troll was amazing. Did you see that troll? No, we hate the trolls.
Right.
The movies made us hate the trolls.
Right.
So, and it's kind. So I'm at the same point. There are quite a few.
I actually liked Emma in that season.
I did too.
When she was actually started figuring out what her true potential was, and she wasn't bored.
And that was before she was taking the magic shortcut for everything all the time as well.
Right.
She was still an action hero.
Indeed.
Right.
So there's quite a few.
magic away.
There's quite a few people in my life that have said I started watching once. And they might have even quit before Frozen. I just couldn't get into it. And I have said to them, like I said for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as well, you really got to give it a chance. You have to sit down. Yes, it's a little cheesy. It's a little campy. It's a little over the top. It's Disney. It's live action Disney.
And it's in the 8 o'clock hour.
It's in the 8 o'clock hour. But it's fractured fairy tales. Think of Bullwinkle and Rocky with the fractured fairy tales. That's what it is. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, but after this half season, can I, in good conscience at this point, tell somebody, yes, it's worth catching up on the first 5 to get to where we are right now. No, it's not. Now, they're going to have to end strong. I don't know when that ending's going to be, but it's got to be strong. Because they're starting to lose
We're
me.
past the potential, most...
Drink.
Hashtag.
We're past the, I didn't even mean to say potential, it just came out.
We're past the point of no return.
Right, thank you. And most shows, they're canceled after, 2, 3...
No, the average is about 5 nowadays.
Yeah. That's what that's what I'm getting at, is that, they're past, early show.
They're over the hill.
They're a mature show at this point.
Right. Yeah. Let's just not do a Grace, since we keep bringing that up.
It's okay.
The only way I think that they're, sorry, Emily, I think the only way that they're going to cancel once or bring it to a close is if they have a gangbuster show to replace it with.
And I hope,
Yeah.
well, either that or like whatever their last arc is. I don't want them to do something like, because ABC actually kind of does this a lot. I don't want them to do something like they did with Pushing Daisies, where they're like, all right, show's not making it, we just have to end it. Rush and tie up all these loose ends with string that doesn't
Yeah, they
exist.
need to give them.
Pushing Daisies is kind of an unfair example, just because the writer's strike killed them.
That's
If it comes back that they're all just sleeping, and there's actually all still in the Enchanted Forest, and Storybrooke doesn't exist, I'm done.
They won't do that. That's too cheap of a shot.
I would want them to do something.
Do you know who we're talking about?
I would want them to do something that like shoots for the very top. Like if you, I think you do Supernatural podcast as well. Yeah, last season no show had a better place to end than that show in the history of television. They literally took it to the very end of their entire mythos.
Yes.
So I would like something similar from Once. Like just find something that's a root that affects every single person in all these realms, and find a storyline where it has to be the climax.
It can't, and I'm gonna say, like you said this earlier, I'm tired of Storybrooke. I'm so tired.
At least take us to a different city in this country. When we lost
we were in
Magic
New
the first
York?
time, yeah, I liked New York.
That was cool.
I thought we could go to Louisiana, get some Princess and the Frog characters, and bring in some
Yeah.
actual magic that exists
And
in
some
our
Cajun
realm.
food. Come on.
Yeah.
Plus, Dr. Facilier, like, he wasn't like the most powerful villain we've seen in a Disney movie, but he
was a
swagger
good
for
one.
days.
Are we
Yeah.
really asking for more characters, people? My brain.
Well, we want better characters.
At this point, as long as I get better, I'll take more.
Something a little meatier than what we've had. We're not asking for all the characters at once. We're just asking.
Which is what happened.
Exactly.
And
what we're asking for is just, if we're going to go to Louisiana or wherever, let's go there for a season. Let's go there. Let's beginning, middle, end,
I was saying,
or not end and keep going, and then end it later. I'm sorry.
Well, the other thing that we've got now too is Moana just came out, and that's a Disney film, and that brings in like the magic of like elements, like water and air and that kind of stuff, and like the earth. So that could be another completely different thing. That
If we're gonna like make story
But then
arcs to
wouldn't that just be
capitalize
Frozen
on.
Part 2?
I hope not.
I would say I haven't seen Moana. Sadly, I'm so
I
behind on
haven't
a
seen
lot of
haven't
movies.
either.
But I
either.
have to imagine that from like an actual critical standpoint, not a hype standpoint, that it's better than Frozen.
It is.
I have to imagine that it's just
It's
better
far
as far
better.
as
Like Frozen was
material.
for me. Frozen was good, but like Moana is like, okay, we don't have like this pretty princess and pretty princess dresses like singing about how she wants to be loved. We have this strong like person of color. She's from Hawaii or from like the Pacific like the Pacific Islands. She's strong. She's not a princess. She's like the chief of her town or of her island or whatever. So like it's got, not only does it have better like views for for the kids these days, that they're not like sitting here looking at this princess, but like she's just such a strong character, like that just does her own thing. And so I'm like really hoping that I'm hoping that they bring her up in Once, because I feel like she does. She would fit into the Once realm where Frozen and like those characters did not.
I'm just saying though that if you're going to complain about the forest aspect of Frozen and shoving that into Once, you're basically kind of contradicting that by suggesting Moana should happen. Because that's got some success going on with it too.
It does. It definitely doesn't have as much as Frozen did though. That's why I'm more okay with it, I think, because Frozen had such a hype, and like that came out in 2013, and girls are still like, oh my god, Frozen! Like you still get 30 Elsas that come to your door on Halloween. Like whereas so far that hype hasn't happened with Moana. Yes, it's gotten some very good reviews, but it's not like all of the little girls like, oh my god, I'm looking up to Moana. Like I want to be Moana.
Yeah, I really don't see the powers that be putting Moana into Once Upon a Time, because there was so much backlash with the Frozen arc, because it was forced and because they forced them to do it. If you've listened to our podcast after that, I go into that whole tirade. I'm not going to go into it again
repeatedly.
here.
We kind of don't just
Well,
stop at 4A.
I went through and I explained why they did it. I'm not going to go into that again. Here is what I mean. But because there was so much backlash, I don't see them forcing whatever is hot in pulp culture now into the show. And Moana as a property, again, I haven't seen the movie, but because it isn't based on some sort of fairy tale or folklore, it's an original story. That's another reason I don't see it fitting in. And so I think we're safe from that. But you bring up, the fact that there's, the element magic or things with that. So maybe they'll tie that in with a different character going forward, since that's one part of magic that we haven't experienced. Like voodoo is another magic. Like Dr. Facilier, we haven't experienced that type of magic yet.
Yeah.
So they still have a couple avenues that they could potentially explore in the future, but hopefully they've learned their lesson and they will not be forcing a storyline when it doesn't make sense.
Once again, I think the biggest hope for this season is that Jafar, because why would they make such a big deal about having recast him and showing him, and we saw him in no episodes? Is it no? Was it none?
Couple.
There were 2.
But it was a blip.
Yeah, they were short little blips. Why get somebody
He
that...
is one of the most iconic Disney villains. He carries his own weight, so he doesn't need, like, the Evil Queen without having Zelina as her, like, home base. I don't know. Like, I was wondering to myself, like, what do you do all day? Like, do you do evil, like, all day, or do you, like, are you watching TV? We have TV now. I can't see any villain that's not going to watch TV.
Yeah.
But Jafar, I feel like, is something, especially if we're talking about trying to reunite the halves of Regina, he's a good reason. If neither of them can beat him by themselves and they have to work together. But once again, it's this thing which I'm happy about the twist of Gideon being the one who's coming after Emma. But since it's this weird character from out of nowhere, I have no idea what they can do with him. So I have no idea what to expect. Edward?
Potential. Hashtag.
Hashtag potential, hashtag drink.
Do you have any other comments, thoughts, predictions, or wishes, or hopes, or dashed disappointments?
Prediction: Emma is not going to get stabbed by the sword like we see in her vision.
Oh, come They're not going to kill her.
Can you please just write that when
She's
you come
the
back?
top billed
Kristen
one.
predicted.
She's second after Jennifer Goodwin.
Jennifer Goodwin's first, yeah.
Wish. Use the magical age powder on Pinocchio so we can get August back.
Please! I want August.
That's a nice one. I don't know if
He
they
was a
will.
good show pusher, especially for that first season.
Oh my gosh, she
Because
was
they're
great.
like, okay, she doesn't know anything. She doesn't believe the things that she does know. But then there's this guy like, you don't know who I am yet. Keep going. And he vaguely reminds me of Paul Rudd, which is always a positive. Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd, I've loved him
like,
since
bring back
1995.
August, man. And if we get a little bit of Geppetto as well, once again, really love the actors. So just, so that's my wish. I have no predictions.
We are going to the Wish Realm, and it is.
I'm not there, so I don't know if it's gonna.
Yeah, but I think the rules of the Wish Realm will probably change now too, since the Wish Realm was created for Emma, and now that Emma is no longer under the spell of the Wish Realm, things can get real dicey in there, I think.
It was a fake place.
Well, what's interesting that you mentioned that too, and I know you asked about predictions, was the Wish Realm now has the king and queen, they're dead. Yeah. So like what happens to the kingdom in terms of like how they function, because now Emma's there and everyone sees Emma as this princess.
Yeah, she's the heir.
Exactly. So it's like now, I mean, that could be very interesting.
Yeah, if they even choose to go, they could just totally brush over that and not
Which
even
I think
worry.
they're
going to.
I actually don't think they should spend much time on the Wish Realm. They're having a hard enough time with reality.
Well, but I'm saying if they stayed there, they would have to address that, or not address it.
Yeah. The problematic thing with the Wish Realm is that its reality was based on it being a wish of Emma's. So it was, the realm itself was born as being fake. But to Emma, it was real. So its nature is to be real. But when Regina wished herself to that place, once again, she didn't know where she was going when she made the wish. Very irresponsible on her part. She was Aladdin's master. She technically could have asked the question and received an answer and then made the wish. But for her, it was based on the premise that it's fake, but it's now the Wish Realm made of two wishes from two people who, like...
One of which is actually a half of a person.
Well, and all Regina wished for was to go where Emma was.
Yeah.
So her wish didn't have any effect on the Wish Realm itself. She just wished to go to where Emma was.
I don't think Emma brought Robin there. I think Regina brought Robin there.
Well, Robin was part of the Enchanted Forest.
That's true.
It's
so
the
that
Wish Realm.
It has
a whole brand new Enchanted Forest in the Wish Realm.
Here we go.
Yeah.
There's still a crime rate. in the enchanted forest.
Yeah.
We still have brigands robbing you.
Yeah, but Regina wishing herself there had no effect on what it was before she showed up.
And that's assuming,
Right.
there is any dimension to this wish realm.
That's
I mean,
assuming the writers have put as much thought into this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean,
now
that's
they're not putting a lot of thought in it.
No, and that's what I'm saying. It's like the wish realm. There's a lot of layers that I know you're kind of thinking about wishing for, but I don't think they are, and I don't think they should. They got to work on the ones that they've got. All the fires they got burning over here, and whether they stay in story
Their
or
base,
not.
their base is definitely Tildrain. Like,
Yeah.
really, like the base of their show is.
Yeah.
Even if they have to take a hit and do a boring half season to just resolve stuff, do it. Because then you have
Well, I don't know. They started it with the boring
potential
half
to
season.
do something.
Oh, hashtag drink.
We just made a drinking game. I gotta remember that.
Just put a little tag at the beginning of the
I was
podcast.
gonna say this.
If you'd like to enjoy this with an adult beverage, every time you hear the word potential, take a drink.
I'm going to.
Please send me to rehab after this.
We
get
need a
letters.
tag that says like we are not responsible for any subsequent actions from the drinking game.
Wow.
Please
Now we're
drink
getting legal.
responsibly.
Yeah.
Hashtag. With that said then, what I would like to do is thank Eddie, Emily, Micah, Amie, and Kristen once again for joining me for the Once Upon a Time podcast. Now I have this little conclusory statement that I've been reading with our podcast, so if you're new to the podcast, you don't know this, but if you're a longtime listener, first of all, thank you. Second of all, I have a conclusion because I listen to podcasts and get inspired. So, CPU! Was produced by Back Pocket Productions, run by yours truly, the Chief Couch Potato, and hails from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Please, if you like what you hear, take the time to rate us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, or Google Play, which means give us some stars. And if we had to choose, we'd pick 5. Or comment on YouTube so that we can spread the word most effectively. If you have suggestions on shows we might consider that we're not already doing, contact us at our website, couchpotatoesunite.wordpress.com, where you can also subscribe to the blog via email at couchpotatoesunitepodcast@gmail.com, or of course we have our social media accounts, particularly Facebook and Twitter. Though we're adding more and new shows and old shows to chat about around the water cooler all the time. As always, as I say in the intro, we have several more new episodes coming down the pike. We always do. And we're available and searchable via the web. So if there's any that you missed or think you might want to look into, go ahead and search for us. We're everywhere. Make sure you subscribe to the blog, any one of our channels, our social media accounts, and stay up on new events and episodes. Until that time, Once Upon a Time can be streamed on Netflix through season 5, and you can catch up on the 6th season, the half that we're talking about, on Hulu. ABC's network website and app has the last 5 episodes, I believe. CPU will revisit once after its 6th season finale airs, which will be sometime in May. So until next time, keep listening, keep watching, stay tuned. Bye-bye.